Hey there, welcome to Mama Bell's Home. Today I'm sharing easy meals for busy families. As a mom of 7, having meals ready to go is so helpful and on busy days are essential for me. In this video, I will be sharing with you some of my meals that I have prepared for this week. This took me about 2.5 hours and I really enjoyed it, and I'm excited to share with you all the meals that I have made. First up, we're going to be making some sandwich bread. Since this is going to take the most amount of time, that's why I'm starting it first. It's a super easy recipe. I'll link it down in the description. I found it off of Pinterest. It only has about 5 or 6 ingredients. For a single recipe, you're going to need 2¼ teaspoons of active dry yeast. You're going to need a pinch of sugar, and you're going to need 4½ cups of water just to get the yeast going and started. And then you're going to let that sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. And while I'm allowing that to sit, I'm going to go ahead and start working on other things. But I just wanted to give you an overview of what it looks like, what you'll need, and how to go about it. I'm working on getting back to the basics and just having some simple snacks around for the kiddos and I to snack on during the day. I am a homemaker who also homeschools, so we are home all day long. And hard-boiled eggs is one of those things that are super easy to do. It doesn't take a lot of time, and my kids love it, and it's a great source of protein. So I'm going to go ahead and boil up some eggs and then get to going on some breakfast bowls. Going into these breakfast bowls will be some pork sausage links. I'm going to make some scrambled eggs and then some cheese. I went ahead and shredded the cheese the night before. I like to go ahead and just buy blocks of cheese and then shred them up with my food processor. It's a lot easier. It saves me time and money because I don't like the cheese that you get in packages with all the preservatives and the things that are on them so that it doesn't stick, which totally makes sense, but it's just not my preference. So I went ahead and prepped it last night, like I said. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pop the sausage links into my cast iron while I start working on the eggs. I really like making these breakfast bowls for my husband. I want him to have the convenience of easy-to-go meals so that he can just grab out of the fridge and take with him on his way to work. He has to get up pretty early, and I don't want to get up to make breakfast that early. So I go ahead and I'm just going to add some salt, some garlic granules, and then some pepper to the scrambled eggs, and then just scramble them up in the pan because why dirty another dish? At the end of this video, you will see my pile of dishes. I don't need another one. So after I go ahead and add all of the ingredients into it, I'm just going to go ahead and scramble it up like I said and let it cook. And while it's cooking, I'm going to start working on other things. The key for me during meal planning or meal prepping, is to make sure that I'm multitasking. I know this isn't ideal for everybody, and sometimes it's hard to focus on more than one thing at a time, but this is just how I've found it works best for me so that I can save time and get more done in the amount of time that I'm in the kitchen. I'm going to go ahead and start prepping these chicken thighs with some seasoning and cooking them. They're going to be for my quinoa Greek chicken salad bowls that I'm making for lunches for my husband and I. Again, just another way to make sure that we're getting nutritious food in. I have a goal to lose 40 pounds this year, and eating my kids chicken nuggets and mac and cheese ain't gonna cut it. So I need to be more intentional with the food that I'm eating, and quinoa bowls are something that I really enjoy. I actually get bored of food quite easily, and so adding a bunch of stuff into like salads and quinoa bowls or things like that, burrito bowls, really just help me stay on track. And so I'm laying these chicken thighs out flat, and then I'm going to go ahead and season it with some salt, pepper, and some Dano's seasoning. I want to keep my seasonings pretty universal because I'm going to be making a few extra so that we can just grab and go if we need a little extra protein or the kids want a piece of chicken. And then because I'm going to be using some Greek seasoning in the quinoa bowls, I don't want to add too much flavor and have that kind of like compete with the flavor of the Greek flavoring in the quinoa bowls. Now that I have the chicken thighs in the oven cooking and these scrambled eggs are looking pretty much done, I'm going to go ahead and start assembling the breakfast meal bowls. I'm gonna have, again, like I said in the beginning, some hash browns, some pork sausage links, and then these scrambled eggs, and then top with a little bit of cheese. We're only about 20 minutes into this meal prep, and I've already got 5 breakfast bowls, some hard-boiled eggs going, the chicken in the oven, and some fresh sandwich bread going. So we're being quite productive, and this is what I mean when I have like a multitasking. Instead of just completing one task all the way through, I'm kind of like alternating and doing like a circuit of meal plan, which helps me get more done in a shorter amount of time. I went ahead and moved the breakfast bowls into the fridge downstairs, and now I'm going to go ahead and finish up these eggs. They boiled for about 7 or 8 minutes, and I'm just going to go ahead and rinse them off, get all of the things that float from hard-boiling eggs, and one of them busted. Wait until you see my little Frankenstein egg. But I also let them sit in cold water, and I don't do the ice bath, I just use cold water. We're in North Idaho, so it is quite cold here, just the water naturally. Here's my Franken egg. It's funny. It had me amused. Anyways, I'm just going to go ahead and rinse these off in some cold water, get the pan cool, and then dump that out, and then do another rinse and let it soak in the cold water. Now we're going to go back and start our dough for the sandwich bread. Now that it was sitting and bubbly, we're going to add 1/4 cup of sugar, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and a tablespoon of salt. I'm going to go ahead and mix that up, make sure that it's all combined really well before I add in the flour. And then you're going to add in 5.5 cups of bread flour. If you don't have bread flour, which I'm not using, I'm actually using all-purpose flour, then it'll work really well too. Like I said, I've already made this and it came out really good. So bread flour is not necessary. I like to add in half the flour into a bread recipe, get that all mixed up and incorporated, combined well together, and then I'll add in the rest, like half a cup at a time. I'm going to be adding a lot more flour than you will if you're only doing a single batch. I'm doubling mine up. So I'm using about, it said 11 to 13 cups of flour, which I should have probably gone closer to the 13, but I stuck around the 12 because mine was a little bit too sticky, but it still came out really well. So bread is one of those things that it doesn't always work out the exact same way every single time. And it has a lot to do with the temperature of your house and all sorts of things. So I'm new to making sandwich bread, but I'm not new to making bread in general. So I kind of have an idea of what it should look like. I'm continue to add in a little bit of flour as I go, because I'm noticing that the dough is not sticking together as much as it should be. Your dough should be tacky, like sticky to the touch, but not enough to stick to your hands. And so I'm just adding my flour in bit by bit until I notice that this is the right kind of texture. And then you're going to knead it for 5 to 7 minutes. If you have a stand mixer, I highly recommend using that instead of using your hands, because it takes a little bit of time and effort. But my KitchenAid is... After you're done kneading your dough, you're going to go ahead and transfer it into a greased bowl. I went ahead and just rubbed some olive oil around in my bowl to let it sit. And then you're going to let it sit for about an hour or so, or until it is at least doubled. Because I was already in the kitchen cooking, it went a little bit faster for me. And make sure to cover it with saran wrap so that it can trap it all in there and it'll help it rise. Especially if you have a cooler house, this really helps. On to these Greek chicken quinoa bowls that I've been talking about. I am so excited to try this recipe. It smelled so good when I was cooking it. First up, you're going to go ahead and boil some quinoa with water. or you can also use some chicken broth if you want to really take it up a notch. It's 1 cup of quinoa per 2 cups of water. I found that it was a little bit too on the runny side for me, or too wet, and so I think using 1 3/4 cup would probably be better. I left the quinoa to boil, and I went ahead and checked on my hard-boiled eggs. They still felt pretty warm to the touch, so I'm just going to do another round of cold water and get started on the produce that needs to go into the quinoa bowls. Starting with my cucumber, my husband and I do not prefer the peel on, so I went ahead and peeled that before cutting it up. I'm also going to be adding some fresh parsley, avocado, black olives, some feta cheese with the chicken and quinoa, obviously. And then I'm going to be juicing the lemons and adding olive oil and Greek seasoning. I'm not joking, you guys. When I had this all mixed up, I wanted to just eat it right away. It smelled so good, but I had already eaten lunch, so we're just going to go ahead and leave it for the next day. I love Greek or Mediterranean flavors. I feel like it's just so fresh and delicious, and they really know how to bring out the flavors of things. Fresh parsley is one of those, along with the lemon and olive oil. I feel like it just brings a depth and flavor to these quinoa bowls that you otherwise wouldn't get. Like I had mentioned earlier, I really like flavorful food. I do not like boring food. I get bored of it quickly and easily. So adding these things that just bring out the flavor and really take it up a notch helps. I love this can opener. It makes opening cans so much easier and safer because it doesn't have the sharp edges. Also, I have gone through a ton of can openers, and this one has outlasted them all. And you, of course, have to taste them when you're cooking. You can't just not have a little taste, right? I love black olives, and that's why I'm using them in this Greek bowl instead of other olives. I know there are other options and better options probably for this like more Mediterranean Greek styled quinoa bowl, but I'm just gonna go ahead with black olives because they're cheap, they're easy, and I like them. And here I am just going ahead and juicing the lemons on top of this. Also, because I've added the fresh avocado, putting the lemon juice in there will keep them from going bad. It'll preserve them a little bit. The last video I did, I went ahead and cleaned and decluttered and organized my spice cabinet, and I am so excited, you guys. I'm not embarrassed in the least, and I am actually really glad that you get to see it, and I can find things so much easier. It's been so great having it cleaned and organized, and I'm so thankful that I did it. Here's that Greek seasoning that I was talking about. I use it a lot in like Greek dressings and flavoring chickens, a lot of for like these Greek bowls that I do for meal prep. And then here's the chicken. Like I said, there was no need to trim off the extra fat because it just melted or cooked off. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you what that looks like. See? Came out so good and it smelled delicious. Now we're gonna go ahead and get started on my bean and cheese burritos while the chicken is cooling down before I can add it into the bowls. And I'm just gonna go ahead and microwave the beans to make it softer and easier to spread around on the tortillas. And I'm just using some burrito flour tortillas to do this. We're actually going to be having fried bean and cheese burritos for dinner along with some rice. And so I just wanted to make sure that I was taking a little bit of time to set myself up for success later on. Since I'm already in the kitchen doing things and I have some time, I'm going to go ahead and prep these now. And then tonight when it's dinner time and I'm ready to start cooking these, I'll just go ahead and fry them up in a little bit of oil in a pan, and it will be done, and that'll be easy. And then some Mexican rice in the Instant Pot. And here they are all finished. There should have been 16, but somebody got into the tortillas and there was only 15. And then now I'm just going to go ahead and crack up these hard-boiled eggs and put them in this Tupperware so that I can get them into the fridge and the kids can just grab them easily. I don't know about you, but if you've ever seen a kid peel a hard-boiled egg, it's the craziest and messiest situation. So I'm just going to go ahead and save them some struggle and peel them ahead of time and putting them in this Tupperware so that the scent of the eggs is trapped into the container and not into the fridge, getting into the other foods. And here comes that little Frankenstein egg again. It feels like it's like a little Eggman. I don't know, this egg brought me so much joy. I just wanted to say that. It's time to chop up some chicken. Now that the chicken has had time to cool, I'm going to go ahead and put a few to the side in a Ziploc bag in the fridge. And then I'm just going to go ahead and cube up the chicken thighs to add into the quinoa bowl. You guys, when I tell you this smells and tastes amazing, I'm not joking. If there's only one recipe that you make in this whole weekly meal plan or meal prep video, it's this one. It is so good. It smells so good and so fresh. And I literally cannot wait to eat it. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and just put some of this in the containers for my husband for lunches, and then some for me. So these are the containers he's going to be having, and then I'm going to prep mine into the pink containers. Here we go. I have 4 chicken thighs in that Ziploc bag, and then 6 of the quinoa bowls, all meal prepped and ready to go and down in the fridge. Now it is the long-awaited time, the punching of the dough. I don't know why there's so much satisfaction and like fulfillment and joy in punching dough, but it's good, guys. It's really good. I'm still new to sandwich bread, like I said, and so this is too sticky. I should have added more flour, but I didn't, and we're not going to let anything go to waste. We're using it up. So we're using as is. We're going to break this up. This actually probably should have been 4 loaves. I thought it would only have been 2 because I'm using a larger pan, and I love my pans. My USA pan that I have over there that's much longer than a regular loaf pan saves me a lot of time and effort in making bread because I can do like a double loaf. And then this other Nordic ware pan I really like also. I'll probably be purchasing more of one or the other. I don't really know. The USA pans are a little bit more expensive, but I find that they just do better. But like I said, the Nordic ware is really good too. So here's what it looks like. I'm just shaping them. I'm going to let them sit here for about 15-20 minutes while the oven is coming up to temperature. And then I'm going to go ahead and get started on my einkorn muffin master muffins. I love this recipe. These are some of the best muffins I've ever had. And if you have not tried einkorn or are new to einkorn, using it in muffins is so good. They're a little bit more dense and grainy, but einkorn is an ancient grain. It's more nutrient dense and easier to digest. It's a lot better for you. And I have found that I really, really enjoy the flavor. It has just more of a depth to it than regular flour. You could probably do this recipe with regular flour as well, although I'm not sure what it would come out to because I've only used it with einkorn. And this is a master muffin recipe, so you can put any flavorings that you want into it. I'm going to be doing some chocolate cherry and then also some just chocolate chip. You're going to need 2 eggs, a half cup of applesauce, a half cup of maple syrup. I'm doing a double batch, so you're going to do less than me. It's going to look like I'm adding more, but you're not going to need to. And a teaspoon and a half of vanilla. I just go ahead and eyeball it because I'm used to it. And then I go ahead and I mix up all of the wet ingredients before I add in the dry stuff. Then you're going to do 1 teaspoon of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, and then a quarter teaspoon, of salt, and then 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Again, I go ahead and I mix this all up before I add in the flour, and then after you get it all mixed up, I like to add in the butter, and you want to make sure to either slice it up, cube it up. It makes it a lot easier when mixing, and make sure that it's softened. You don't want to have like cold out of the fridge butter. It makes it a lot harder to mix up if it is that way. So make sure you let it sit out for a little bit before you get started. And then I'm just going to go ahead and mix this in, and then we're going to add in the flour. And for the flour, you're going to need 1 3/4 cup of the einkorn flour. I'm not sure what, again, that would look like with regular flour if you wanted to try that. I'm doing a double batch, so I'm adding in 3.5 cups of einkorn flour. And like I said, it's going to be a little bit grainier. It's not going to look the same as muffins, but I promise you it's going to come out so good, and you will be so thankful you tried them. And we don't measure chocolate chips with a measuring cup around here. We go ahead and measure with our heart. Again, this is a master muffin recipe, so I don't actually have a measurement for chocolate chips. I just kind of make sure that there's enough chocolate chips to get a good amount in every muffin. And also, if you have not used an ice cream scoop for putting your muffin batter into your liners, you are missing out. I'm telling you, it's so easy and it'll save you a ton of time. I also love these silicone liners. They will save you money and they're so easy to use. Now that I got the chocolate chip muffins into the batter into the liners, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my cherries that I use from Azure, and then mix that all in, and then now I'm gonna go ahead and do that. My kids don't really like, well, half of my kids don't like the cherry in chocolate muffins. It's more my preference and my husband's preference, so that's why I went ahead and split it up. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and bake these, and here they are. I'm not joking, you guys. This is some of the best muffins you will ever taste, and they're actually good. There isn't any preservatives or artificial sweeteners. Like, this is all good stuff, and they are delicious and totally worth a try. Here it is. I wanted to show you how easily these muffins come out of these silicone liners. I just went ahead and got them off of Amazon, nothing special, but it comes out so easy. And look at the delicious gooiness of the chocolate inside these muffins. So good. I cannot wait to eat this. And here we go. I was trying not to get the chocolate on my lipstick because that's not cute, but they literally are my favorite muffins, and every time I make them, I'm so glad I do, and I wonder why I take so long to do it. And there it is, chocolatey yummy goodies. And here's the evidence of a weekly meal prep video. If you don't want to stick around and do these dishes with me, then go ahead and watch this video here. And like I said, I'll link that spice cabinet video here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and you like these recipes. Thanks for coming along with me and doing our family weekly meal prep. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!